guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Anicia Nichelle, and if you read by the title, we're going to be talking about the things I wish I knew before I went to college. As you guys know, I am a college student. This will be my junior year that I'm going to be going into in the fall. So I have racked up a few experiences of what I wish someone told me, especially around the time of freshman year, because it was nothing of what I expected. And I just want to get you guys prepared. If you like what you see here, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into this video. First thing I do want to point out is if you're going to be living on campus, I suggest picking out your roommates really wisely. I, for one, had an amazing roommate. I will not talk bad against her. She was an amazing woman. We obviously are not rooming anymore because I am not going to be on campus. And that being said, I do say pick your roommates wisely. For my college, we had a pick my roommate website that they gave us for freshmen to pick out our roommates. It's almost like a Facebook, Snapchat. You make an account, you talk about things that you like, you put a picture up, and then there's other people that has the same thing, and then you just click on them, you ask them, hey, oh, I like music too, if they put that they like, I don't know, Drake, even though we're Kendrick Lamar on this side of the field. You know, you just start talking. With me and my roommate, we had bonded over, I want to say, books. We started talking a lot more about reading, and then we realized that we had a lot more in common than we had aside from reading, and then we decided that we would be roommates. I don't know, it may be different for everyone, but I just say to pick your roommates wisely if you have that chance to pick your roommate, because you're going to be with this person for 2 semesters and they're going to be in your space, and you want to be around a person that is not going to be mean or conniving or dirty, might I say. You don't want to be around people like that. It takes a lot to go through college while also having to deal with roommate drama, because they're in your space. This is your downtime. Your room is your place of relaxation, and if you can't even go to your room for relaxation, it's going to be harder for you to be able to have a good college life experience. And to piggyback off of what I said about picking people with hygiene, something I wish I knew was people have terrible hygiene. As you guys know and look in my previous videos, I'm a hygiene freak. I love hygiene. I love perfume. I love smelling good. You ain't gotta worry about me being any type of bad in certain areas of hygiene. But for our first dorm that we ever shared, it was a 2-bed private, and the bathroom was shared between the other 2 roommates. So we shared a bathroom, but we had our own room. I had an experience, we both had an experience with this disgusting girl. I don't want to say her name, but she was just so disgusting, had hair in a drain, didn't know how to pick up after herself. It was just disgusting, and then she didn't want to clean. So there was a time where, you know, we had to get the RA involved, we had to get housing involved, because it was so bad that it was affecting the way we can communicate with each other, because it was like she just did not want to clean. Another thing I do want to highlight is that obviously when you go to college, you don't know nobody, you're trying to figure out what's going on. I, for one, was very scared, because I am the type of person that I don't talk to a lot of people. I like to keep myself around the same type of people forever and ever if it's possible. I don't really like talking to big people, like big crowds of people. It makes me nervous because I don't know everybody's energies. Like, advice I always see out there is like, oh, go to mixers and go to things. And yes, go to them, because I, for one, went to them. I went to them, but I had friends, and I'm gonna explain it. So for my school, we had freshmen to come in a week earlier before anybody else for orientation, and my roommate had a friend, and she introduced to me, and then my friend, who I knew since middle school, she also attended there. So we linked up, kindled, and it became a group. And then his roommate, I'm saying his, so my roommate's friend was a boy, and he had a roommate. He was introduced to us, and then it became a whole group, and we went to mixers and we met other people and blase. I was fortunate. I wouldn't say that's for everyone, but obviously you want to make a friend out of your roommate. You know, it's kind of easier to go that route anyways. When you want to make a friend, you just be friends with your roommate. Out of everyone that I was friends with, I am only friends with my friend from middle school. I hope it doesn't happen for people, because I really did want a big friend group. I did want a group mixed with boys and girls. It was a dream of mine, and I got to have that little before this person said this and that person said that, and then it was just like a whole fiasco. That was like, I gotta go. I gotta get out because this is not what I wanted. But I just say to watch out for like big friend groups. Obviously, like I said, I don't want that to happen for anybody else. If a friend group comes along your way, it is what it is. I don't recommend it because it goes on to my next point where I'm talking about like people show their real colors throughout time during the semester, because obviously like freshman orientation was just freshman orientation. We didn't have class, we didn't have midterms, we didn't have finals, so everyone got along pretty quickly because we didn't have the stress of college interplaying with our relationships with each other. And then when we went on with our school classes and everything, it kind of, you know, like people were stressed out and, you know, things happen, which is understandable. But I will say watch out for people, because people will throw rocks and hide their hands, and I don't play that crap. I'm sorry, but I don't play that. I may be for the Lord, but I throw tables too, so like I don't play that. Tying into the whole friends thing and everything, I want to say that peer pressure is a real thing. You see it so much in college. I've seen it so much in college. I have seen people do LSD, all types of stuff. Like I don't know what to tell y'all, but peer pressure is a real thing. And I know that people are gonna be like, oh, well, I could just say no. It's more about a feeling internally. Like I said, like I always feel like I need to still be up with my peers in a sense of looking cool, and like I'm, you know, I can get down with the Joneses in a sense of where like, and not in terms of like drugs and alcohol, like in terms of like going to parties, because that's another thing I want to speak about. Is like you should go to parties, and like mixers are not only just like going to meet people and do like game nights. Like you can go to pool parties, because our school is quite not famous for it, but we are popular for our pool parties. Like a lot of people from different schools go to our pool parties, so like you're gonna meet people regardless. And for that, like I've seen people come to this pool party and they could be in your class, and the next thing you know, they're like a completely different person, because you're hanging out with people who are not a good person or are not a good crowd to be around, where they get in trouble or they act out or they have a reputation to where they're known for doing type of things that are pleasing to a certain gender. And I'm speaking more in terms of like a woman's side. Like you'll see a girl who's so shy, so quiet, but then pop split twerk with no panties on, humping another guy. Like I have seen it all, y'all, and I'm not surprised. You don't want to turn out, because that type of stuff runs around school, especially if you live on campus. Like it's like a small town. Word gets around fast about people, and those type of pool parties where girls act a certain way, and it could be because they're under the influence of something and they come to the parties. And you know, I have been around a few share of boys to know that they go after those type of girls because they think that they're easy, not because they want a relationship. Away from like the whole social light of college, I really want to highlight the importance of why you're there, because sometimes we be going to a lot of these functions and a lot of things that happen on campus and off of campus, and we start to like stray away from our studies and, you know, do more partying. I've seen it so many times with people, and it's just like every time I see their stories, they're always at the next party, they're always drinking, they're always smoking, and it's like, damn, are you in school still? Like, are you still going to school? Like, I can't tell you how many people have dropped out or has transferred like over the like few months of going to school. My freshman year, there were so many faces that I saw during orientation that were no longer there anymore because they were prioritizing the wrong things, and it obviously affected their abilities to be able to work on the academic part of going to college, and they ultimately had to drop out. One of my suite mates, so the people who I said shared the bathroom with me, the girl who was messy, her roommate ended up dropping out the third month of freshman year because it was too much for her to handle, and I guess she was homesick, so she ended up going back home. It's the realistic part about it. So I will say to, like, you know, not go to all the functions. You don't need to go to all of them. Like, it's pretty tempting, yeah, but if you're not on top of your studies, you know that you're failing a certain class, or your class grade should be at a certain average that you want it to be, especially if you're on scholarship. You have to be in charge of your studies. Like, your scholarship can go away so quickly. That brings me to my next point, where I talk about like mental health days and not going to class. If you guys were watching my previous videos, my sophomore year was really a hard year for me. I feel like every year of my college year was hard. I had something going on to where it was affecting me. It was a hard year. I was not going to my classes a lot because I was going to my classes every day during freshman year. Obviously, when you just came from high school, you're kind of still in that high school mentality to where you're going to school every day. And then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, like, I'm an adult. Like, I don't have to go to my classes if I don't want to. And so I started to like not go to my classes as frequently, and that affected my academic career in a certain case, to where I had to retake the same class in the spring semester because of the fact that I was not taking that time to dedicate myself to my studies more seriously. You don't have to have like a mental health day every day or every week. It's not that serious. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, mental health is so important. Like, I am avid for taking a day, taking a moment and getting yourself together. But when it affects everything else to where you're just using your mental health day as an excuse to like blow off work or blow off studying for a test, that's where it's like you have to like know the difference between, is this a mental health day or is it because I just want to be lazy today? I understand it's going to get hard. It's not going to get easier. Like, it's going to get harder before it gets easier. College is what you make it, but these things are literally tips to show you how the hard parts can become easier things in your college experience. And also, I would say when it comes to classes, that you should have at least one person that you know in your classes, just in case something happens, like a family emergency, or you get really sick to where you're not able to actually go in phase 2 class. You should have a person in that class, or have a communication level with your professors, to where if you do miss a day off of school, you email them, they give you the materials and everything, because if they don't know your face, they will not remember you, and it's a harder chance for you to be able to like get curveballs. I remember this one time I was going to probably fail my math class because I'm not good at math. I'm not good, and you need a C to pass. And because my professor knew I was working hard so much, he knew this was a weak spot for me, and we have like math tutors where the math teachers will stay behind after class and they'll tutor some of the students. He knew I was going to them. He knew I was putting in the effort. For my finals, he gave me a curveball because he knew that I was working so hard that he did bump up my grades to a C, so that way I can pass the class. That can't happen unless you're putting in that work to like make a connection with your professors, even if it's small. Because for me, like, I knew that was gonna be the hardest thing I would be able to do, was to make connections with my professors, because I don't like talking to people. But I obviously had to suck it up and like say, this is my life, this is my education that I'm spending my money on. I need to work efficiently, and the professors are only there to see that you work efficiently. They don't want to hinder your career and hinder your progression. They want you to exceed. They want you to move forward. There will be times where you meet professors that are literally like not budging when it comes to things, but there are many professors out there that want you to excel, and they will give you chance after chance to redeem yourself if need be. With that being said though, I also want to talk about being okay to switch your majors. I feel like when we go into college, we are trying to figure ourselves out, trying to figure out what we're trying to do here, because if we don't figure it out, it's just a waste of money. And I think also that takes a point into why a lot of people drop out. In my opinion, I feel like they don't give themselves enough chances to figure themselves out while at college, so they just drop out and just go get a regular job. I just want to be the first one to say that it is okay to not know what you want to do with your career in your life. Like, you're 17, 18, you're going into college, and you're surrounded by people who are 20 and up sometimes. Anyone can start from any place. This is not a race, this is a marathon. It takes time. It takes money as well, but it takes time to really figure yourself out, because you're now leaving that part where you're in between adult and child, and it's such an awkward age. Like, it's really such like a, I don't know, like, we don't talk about that enough, like that 18, 19, 2-year point in your life where you're like, I'm old enough to vote, but I'm not old enough to drink. You know, even at 20, like I'm 20, so I can't drink yet. But then you're trying to figure yourself out before it's too late, because your peers, especially on social media, they show so much of like what they do. And there's a lot of people who are in college that are influencers, and they show off this lifestyle that seems attainable, but it's so hard to get there. And I want to be the first one to say that you do not need the life that they have. Your life is already valuable and precious, and you just need to figure you out. Don't figure yourself out to look like and mimic somebody else. God will open doors for you when your time is ready. Obviously their time was now, your time will be later. And who knows, you know, by that time you'll understand why God probably didn't give you that blessing to be able to attain what they had. It's okay to switch majors. I for one have switched my majors back and forth many times, but initially my major was supposed to be in business administration. I fell in love with psychology, and I wanted to switch my major when I got to fall, my first semester, to be a psychology major. I didn't like it. Actually, I was just being very lazy. I didn't want to do the work that came in it. Like I have to memorize a lot of things. I switched my major back around last year fall to being a business major. I didn't like it then, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. So I was really depressed and I was down because nothing seemed to fit for me. Like I didn't want to be like a veterinarian like one of my friends wanted to be. I didn't want to be a nurse major. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be something that can help people. I really wanted to be personal with the people that I helped. Took me some time to really talk with God and like figure out what he wanted me to do. Like my boyfriend, he's the type to like, he's like a parent. I'm gonna give him the credit. He's like a parent where he's like, he gonna let you do what you wanna do, but when it comes down to like, okay, I'm seeing that you're not able to handle it, he's gonna like make that effort to talk to me and like try to guide me into a certain decision to make. And I remember we went on a date and he was like, do you really like business? I'm like, no, I hate it. He was like, so why are you there? And I don't know, it just felt like for once someone answered me back, because obviously God is going to answer you, but I felt like he put him in my life and at that moment as well to really like give me the answers he's been trying to tell me. And it really put the final push for me to go back to psychology. Next point I want to talk about is relationships. I was going into my college career with a relationship, and I know that's so heavily discussed in the freshman area. Like, oh, she's going to FAMU, bro, good luck, you might as well break up with her now. A lot of like bad things surrounded by being in a relationship and going to college. Like, I don't know why people think that you cannot be in college and also still be in a relationship. Relationships can still work. Obviously it's a two-team effort. Like if y'all want to give up on your relationship, it's just about putting in the effort to make sure that each party is understanding like the relationship, because there are times where, you know, long distance it gets lonely and then there's temptation around. You know, there's girls that are pretty and they're attractive, and there's guys that are on football teams and basketball teams and they're muscular and they're and it's like, you know, temptation is a big thing that plays a part in college. You have to sit down and know what you want. Is this the man or woman that you want to be with? And if it is, then you gotta thug it out and you have to be honest. Like I don't understand how people cheat. Like I don't get it. I'm not gonna say no names, y'all, but there's this person that I know who literally had a boyfriend, and she got here and she met a guy, said sayonara to her boyfriend, got with this guy. They break up over the summer. She gets back with the guy, like her ex. When she comes back to the fall, she gets back with the guy. I'm like, oh my God. I don't understand. People in college do not care if you're in a relationship. If they want you, they're going to do everything they can to get you, or whatever the case may be. They're going to stare at you. They don't care if your boyfriend or girlfriend is there. They will still want to pursue you, which is the weirdest thing. Like the weirdest thing. Temptation is everywhere. Lust is everywhere. They talk about it in songs everywhere. So it's like you can't even listen to music without the intention being about sex. Now, I want to start talking about the studying aspects of college. I know I spoke briefly about academics, about how you should really be in contact with your advisors. I think I didn't even speak about advisors, but yeah, when you switch your major, you're obviously going to get a different advisor for your major, but like keep in contact with your advisors because they're there to improve your success and they are to give you advice. That's why they're advisors. What I wanted to speak briefly about was studying and how that is a huge importance of your entire college career. I feel like when it comes for studying, having a study schedule is something that I see a lot of people talk about having. Like, I know that my weakness is math. I always single out for my classes what I know my weaknesses will be. So I put more attention to my math than I do for my other studies, which does hinder me, but I still pass with an A in all my classes, so whatever. I would go to the study rooms. I book study rooms for at least like 4 or 3 times out the week to dedicate to learning my math. Like, not just learning it to pass, but learning it to understand, because it's only going to get harder as I go up in level for math. Like, I feel like if you have someone who is able to teach you math, then I really suggest that you really like have them to go over that with you. Like, my roommate at one point was helping me with my math homework. You should have a studying schedule. So like, study how I do. I try to choose days where I'm working. So we're going to get into that aspect of like having a work study. Like, if you want to have a work study, or if you apply for work study and financial aid can cover that, I suggest working for something on campus that involves you sitting at a desk. As you guys may know from previous vlogs I have, I'm usually in the, because it's a Catholic school, but we don't act like Catholics. We have a campus ministry, and it's basically desk assistant. So I basically help with anything that anyone needs. My supervisors are sweet angels, and they don't need nothing from me except for me to feed the cats. And that, my friend, is an award in itself, because I love some cats. When we're not doing anything, and that's like 90% of the time, I'm doing my homework. So I say desk assistant or somewhere where you're at a desk, because they allow you to do your homework. So I definitely recommend that for people who want to look for a work study job. We're wrapping up a little bit, and I want to talk about the efficiency of being able to go to the gym. Like, go to the gym, y'all. I heard about freshman 15 before I had went to college. I didn't know what the heck it was. I was like, the frick is freshman 15? And if you do not know what freshman 15 is, freshman 15 is essentially where you get very complacent in having such a variety of food at your disposals. And with our campus, we have, you know, on campus dining, where we have the dining hall, we have Subway, we have Dunkin' Donuts, we have Bites and Blends. It is very easy to like get lost in the sauce, want to buy everything, especially if you have dining dollars that they give you. It's easy to gain a lot of weight. Yeah, just look out for that. And the last point that I want to touch on is to dress however you want to dress. Like, I feel like for people who go or are going to an HBCU, I cannot talk about, in my personal experience, of having to feel inferior or insecure of how I dress in terms of going to a school, because I go to a PWI, which it does not feel like a PWI. I understand that there's a different type of expectation when it comes to going to a HBCU. You have to look a certain way. It is okay to not look like everybody else, and I feel like people don't understand that we are not made to look like everybody else. Not everyone's gonna have a 50-inch bust down floating down to their ass, and not everyone's gonna have lashes and, you know, makeup on their face, which I have makeup on my face, but I only got pretty for you guys, so I obviously do not wear makeup. And I just want to say that you just come as you are to any type of, you know, classroom. Just be who you are, and people are going to gravitate towards you because of that. Like, regardless of if you look like the Instagram baddies, people are only going to see you for being an Instagram baddie. And then there's that pressure of you having to obtain that look. Ultimately, you are in control of your life now. This is your life. You know, you've had a lot of people tell you what you can do with your life, what you can wear, as far as like if your school, high school or middle school had a uniform. This is the time where you're supposed to flourish. You're supposed to come into your nature of being a beautiful person. If I wanted to be like the next person, I would have nothing to me that says I'm different. I couldn't live with myself if that was the case. But that is all for this video. I hope that you guys learned something from me saying everything, and I hope that it was educational. And I just want to say congratulations to all the graduates of 2024. You guys deserved it. I'm so proud of you guys, even though I do not know you. Thank you guys for watching my video. I'll see you guys later. Bye.